Hello everyone, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to our video. Before we start the video, let me introduce ourselves. Firstly, my name is Aisah Nopani and my partner is Mulyatiningsih. Okay, in this video, we would like to talk about psycholinguistics. Here is we read an article about brain and language. In the title is Children's conversational exposure is associated with language-related brain function by Rachel Romeo and friends. So here we go. Okay. First slide will be presented by me. According to Fasold and friends, language is rooted in the biology of the brain. Therefore, understanding the biology of language is critical to understanding language itself. So, our language ability can depend on the function of brain. If the brain cells don't have problem, it will make it easier for us to learn language. And then the next slides will be presented by my partners.
Okay, now I would like to continue the explanation. According to Grieve, the general structure of the brain is divided into two halves. Each section of the brain is called hemisphere. There are right hemisphere and left hemisphere. The right hemisphere, we can look at the picture. There is colorful in a hemisphere because it is recognizing faces, emotions, creativity, which is related to artistic. While in the left hemisphere is involved recognizing logic, symbolic, and analytical. When we learn language, we use the left hemisphere because it is related to logic, symbolic, and analytical. Okay, next, Fasold and friends state that in the past, most studies revealed brain functions related to movement. But now many studies reveal that the brain can play a very important role in language. There are brain cells that function as speech comprehension and speech processing, so that's why learning language is relating to brain. Some studies suggest that the ability and structure of the brain comes from genes. However, Fasold and friends said that it is important to emphasize that human brains are not all exactly the same. Our abilities can come from experience because we will process and remember something from the experience. From the studying above, it can be concluded that brain can process, capture, and remember vocabularies in the language, and the ability doesn't come from genes. Okay, here we answer two questions related to the article. The first question, why the article discusses about the topic. Children's conversational exposure has an impact on their linguistic abilities. It can shape the structure of the brain and its function, such as the amount of vocabulary they acquire. The more they communicate with other people, the more vocabulary they know. Okay, for the example is parents often communicate with children about daily activities such as, "What did you learn today at school, my son?" And the child answered, "I learned about the bedroom, Mom. In the bedroom there are bed, drawers, pillows, and others." From the conversation, the child will remember the vocabularies. Conversations may be very important for language development because They provide increased opportunities for children to practice language and receive feedback from adults. Linguistic experience appears to have a certain influence on language processing in the left hemisphere that process language or logic. It is beginning in infancy and continuing into early childhood. Okay, next, the writer said that the aim of the research is to elucidate how variations in children's conversational exposure relates to brain functions that underlie language processing and linguistic abilities. Conversational exposure can influence brain development, that is, children who experience more conversation displayed greater activation during language processing. Okay, the next slide, my friend Ii would like to explain.
Okay, second question is, what is the thing that can be applied in learning according to the article? In age of 4 to 6 years, the time to children to begin learn a lot about language and have also gained experience. Why must in the age 4 or until 6 years? Because they record lots of conversation between them and the others. Neuroimaging revealed a neural mechanism by which language experience may influence brain development. For example, namely, children who experience more conversational turn exhibited greater activation in interior frontal regions or broca's area. Okay, next slide. When children watch their parents talk, it can affect their brain function in order to increase their own language. They will be process the vocabularies from the conversation between the adults or their friends. And then after they entering school, it is the teacher who become a substitute for their parents to learn more language and repeat the language they have previously. Okay, next slide. For the previous explanation, the things that can be applied in learning to learn language through conversational exposure is the teacher often interact with students, such as asking about feelings, experience, and the other. In addition, the teacher gives practice to students, such as observing something and then the teacher asking to them. Okay, the last slide is thank you. I think enough for our video. Sorry for our mistake. And the last, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.